Testing, 1, 2, 3. Your host, Lorenzo Primerano. Philadelphia Sports News. Live and live cameras.
Welcome back to the Lorenzo Primerano Show. If you are not already, make sure to go follow my Twitter at Lorenzo_12_24. Because I've been posting there for a good bit now. Last week there was no podcast because of the lack of news. And, of course, the Eagles played on Monday night last week. So there was really nothing to go over. And that's why, we shifted the podcast. So now we have 2 weeks' worth of news. But as you see in the thumbnail, it is mostly going to be a podcast about the predictions for what I think for the playoffs. And, of course, the review, what the Eagles game and the Eagles news. So that's what we're going to hop into, and make sure to, watch through the whole thing to see the Would You Rather at the end. This one is a good one this week. And, always feel free to put your opinion down in the comment section below. So, first off, I want to get off to the game. Now, the game itself, I think, was phenomenal. It was scoreless at the end of the first quarter. The Eagles absolutely killed Carson Wentz in the backfield, taking that huge L. I'm just gonna rub it in there, 24-8. But I'm getting off track a little bit here. Wentz was, I think, sacked 9 times. Brandon Graham might have had 2.5 sacks, something like that. It was brutal for Carson Wentz returning to Philly, and it was great to watch. On the offensive side, we didn't get things going until the second quarter, which is where we scored all 24 points. Devontae Smith is godly now. First, we had A.J. Brown, who had 150-something yards in week 1, and now we're in week 3, and now we got Devontae Smith, I think, with 169 yards, I think it was. Unbelievable. Very good to see him, getting the catches he deserves. Of course, he did not perform in week 1. He had a couple of targets, not even a catch in week 1. Started to progress a little bit more in week 2. And then this is where it was his time to shine today against, this Commanders team. It's Devontae Smith. Amazing game. Nothing bad about it. He did go down after one of the greatest catches I have seen in a long time. He fell right on his back, able to get up. He was good. He was in the clear. He was out there next play, and I think we all know what happened. Touchdown, Devontae Smith. But what I want to talk about is the second half. The first half for the Eagles was amazing. You couldn't get any better with it. Second half, we didn't score any other points. We had that 24 points in the first half, and we left with 24 points at the end of the game. I do think as we progress through our schedule, we're going to need to perform a little bit better in the second half, because if you're looking in week 1, I know we scored a couple of points in the second half. Week 2, I don't think we scored any second half points. I think they all came from the first half, I believe, unless we might have had a touchdown or a field goal. Can't really remember, but I feel like we're not performing as well as we should be in the second half. I feel like we're slacking off a little bit. I'm not sure if it's because of the lead we have or the lead we had, or I don't know. But the Commanders, we would stop them on a 4th and goal, Everyone was happy about that. But, of course, now we get the ball around the 2-yard line. And, the first play we ran blows up dead. And Commanders wind up getting a safety. Something that, better play calling on that part. But, it's only 24-2. It's not probably the ugliest score I've ever seen. And then they get the ball back, and I believe they do score on that drive, making it 24-8. They would not get the 2-point conversion, though. No bueno. But I want to, look at very specific spots here. One thing I want to look at is the defense. The defense, I feel like, through all 3 games, and especially this one, was playing their hearts out. They did everything they could to, sack the QB, especially Carson Wentz in today's game. And, try to get the interceptions, do all this, do all that. Now, I know the 9 sacks didn't just come from one half. They came from both halves. But I think that the defense is also lacking, too. They see that score on, on the scoreboard, and they're like, you know what, let's lay low a little bit. And, they don't perform as well as they do in the first half. Maybe it's momentum-wise. Maybe, it's something where they're like, let's ease off of it a little bit. And with the Eagles offense, they're doing the same thing. First half, look, they had 24 points in the second quarter, and they went scoreless in all the other 3. It's like a little shift in the book, I guess you can say. But yeah, overall, today's game I really liked. Defense really stepped up to bring down former Eagle Carson Wentz, which we're all happy about. But this Eagles team is looking good. We are looking really, really good. And I believe that we will win when we should win at Jacksonville. Or I think we face them at home. But we will beat Jacksonville. And if we don't, I don't know what I would do then. But we should go 4-0 by next week. We should go 4-0. All right? That's all I'm saying. That's been the game review. I want to get into the predictions. The playoff predictions I said. If you were following my Twitter, earlier in the week I posted my playoff predictions for, what I think is going to be the seeding and who I think is going to be in the playoffs. But after today, one of these teams, I don't believe is probably going to make it now. But, I can easily swap that out for another team. So, first off, on the one side, I want to go for the AFC. First off, number 1, I have the Bills. It's not a surprising first seed. Everyone's picking the Bills to go. And it's not like I'm going with the crowd. I'm making it so it's more of a respectable seeding. But I think the Bills go 12-5. And here's the thing, I think that they are a good, they're a good team. They got a good wide receiving core. They got a good defense. But they got to play like they are one of the best teams in the league. And I do think if they're able to do that, they will go 12-5 and get the first seed. Second seed, I got the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, they are probably going to be a little rocky without Tyreek Hill. And after today, they lost against the Indianapolis Colts. So I don't really know where that's going, but I have the Chiefs going 11-6. It's, a little bit on the iffy side. They're going to be a playoff team, but they might, have a collapse. But I do think the Chiefs are able to win 11 games. For the third seed for the AFC, I got the Ravens going 11-6. The Ravens look decent. They look good. Lamar Jackson leading the way. They've been putting up a lot of points. Of course, they won today against the New England Patriots, so that puts them up. And then here's something that shocked a few people when I said this. I had the Titans going 10-7. The reason why I say this, because you're like, oh wait, they were 0-2. Well, now they're 1-2. They barely beat the Raiders this week, but I feel like that Derrick Henry's gonna come back. First 2 weeks were a little iffy for him. I feel like Derrick Henry's gonna come back. Tennessee's finally gonna get arranged in the zone they're supposed to be in. 10-7, I think, is a respectable thing, and they will win the division. Indianapolis, the Texans, and the Jaguars. It's gonna be I don't think it's gonna be that big of a race. I think those teams are not gonna really compete as the weeks come on and on. But you never know. All right, so now getting into wild cards, I got the Dolphins at 12-5. I feel like look at it, I feel like I've rated them a little too high. They should be 11-6, but they would come second place to the Bills for a tiebreaker, which the whole website I did it on. I think the Dolphins have the ability to go 12-5. Do I think they will go 12-5? Maybe. Again, this is just predictions. I'm not entirely sure, but I think the Dolphins, I think they will make the playoffs, especially with the win today over the Bills, extending them to 3-0. 6th seed, I got the Chargers going 11-6. I feel like this is Justin Herbert's year, and I feel like that he will be able to lead this Chargers team to a playoff berth, I think for the first time since 2018. So I'm hoping that he's able to do that. 7th seed here for the AFC. Now, I feel like changing this now, because the team I have now is 0-3. It's the Las Vegas Raiders. I had my reasons, but now I don't. And I feel like the 7th seed for the AFC is going to either be between the Raiders or the Denver Broncos. Denver, of course, getting Russell Wilson will struggle, of course, I feel like, in the season. And the Raiders are already struggling, and I think they're going to struggle more. So it's either the Raiders or Denver on that one. I can't really decide now, knowing that the Raiders just, lost. I'm a little iffy on that. All right. Now to the NFC. NFC is, a little bit respectable. Most people would probably agree with me. I had the Rams going 11-6. They're defending Super Bowl champions. They had a rough week 1, but I believe that, with Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford, that offense is going to blow up. And, I think they will be the number 1 seed. And now, I'm not so happy with this, the 2nd seed. But I had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers being the 2nd seed. The reason why I say this is because it's Tom Brady. I don't, like saying that. But, what are you going to do? He wins games. He's going to bring his team to the playoffs. I think the Buccaneers go 11-6. And they will, take that 2nd seed. Now for the Birds. I got the Birds going 11-6. Do I think they will? Do I think they can do better? Yes. I think the Birds can at least go 12-5. Do I think they will? Probably not. And it's just because of how inconsistent Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Eagles are. I know it's a different team from last year. It's a different team from the year prior. But it always happens. It always happens to the Eagles. They face a bad team. They wind up losing against them. And then they beat one of the best teams in the league. And it's like, oh, what are we doing? So I think the Eagles go 11-6. I think they can go 12-5, but I doubt it. them taking that third seed. 4th seed, I got the Packers. I got the Packers going 10-7. Of course, Davante Adams is not on the Packers anymore. I feel like the Packers are going to struggle a little bit offensively, but that defense will help them out a little bit. And, that 10-7 I think is a respectable record for them. Do I think they can do better? Maybe. If they're able to get the offense going with, Packers have a couple of rookie receivers on their end, so we'll see how that works out. 5th seed, I got the Arizona Cardinals. 10-7, I got them as. They're not going to be a superior team. I feel like they're going to struggle as well. Kyle Murray, he's going to have those good games. He's going to win those games for the Cardinals, but I do think they will go 10-7. Now, here's with the NFC. I think the NFC stinks as a conference. I really do. And the 6 and 7 are, what I believe is going to happen. 6, I got the Niners at 9-8. I say this because I think they're a good team, but I don't think they're a good team. So I'm just going to put them at the lowest losing record they can. So I got the Niners at 9-8. We'll leave it there. And now I got a losing record for the 7th seed because as I said before, I think that the NFC stinks. I really do. I think the Vikings barely squeak into the playoffs at 8-9. It probably won't happen, but it is possible for an 8-9 team to make the playoffs now with the a new 7th seed. So that's my predictions for the NFC. Woo! All right, this has been a very long podcast, and we're still not done. We still got the news to go over from the past couple of weeks, which I'm gonna report to you right now. So first off, I'm gonna get to the Eagles news. We're gonna be quick and easy this week with the news because we just took up 17 minutes of the podcast. Zach McPherson won NFC Player of the Week. That was week 2. For special teams. Derek Barnett is out for the year with the torn ACL. Very sad to see that. But one of the good Eagles players on the field. Now we will be playing without him. And now we got Darius Slay, which was NFC Defensive Player of the Week. I mean, come on, he had that amazing week 2 performance. Very amazing. Phillies news. Harper hit his 100th home run for the Phillies. And the Phillies are fighting for a playoff spot. Look, I will discuss my frustration next week. I will tell you that right now because this is very frustrating to me and it is not the time to do it. So I think I'm just going to leave it right there and, just let it ease on the pain that we're suffering for that. Flyers news, Ryan Ellis is expected not to play for the year. All that money wasted. Again, frustration will be coming out soon. But Keith Yandel retired. He was getting old. He was the Iron Man for the league, so there you go. All right. Again, I've told you all this before. The month of September, October, all the way to February is going to be insane. The podcasts are going to get longer. It's going to be so much news, so much to report. This is probably the first 20-minute podcast since the first ever one, which was about 32 weeks ago. 30-something weeks ago was probably the last time there was a 20-minute podcast. And here we are today. Man, alright. So, as promised, the Would You Rather question for the end of the podcast. Would you rather play an amazing game and lose, or play an average game and win? Now, I'm going to take the side, of course, as I do always, that I think that most people will not pick. And I say, no, I'm going to do my own opinion on this. I feel like I would rather play an average game and win. The reason why I say this is because if I were to play an amazing game and lose, I have all this confidence from playing this amazing game, and then knowing we lost just brings it all the way down. If I played an average game, I'm like, oh, I played good, and we got the win, it's a confidence booster for the next game. But if you lose, it's kind of a, oh, really? I did all this and I didn't lose. So make sure to go, put that in the comments below what your opinion is. Sorry about the news part, because it was very short segment for all the news, but it's Eagles game day, and you have to report on Eagles game day, and of course the predictions. We're not supposed to be part of that, but we'll be able to squeeze those in. This has been the Lorenzo Primerano Show. Make sure to go follow my Twitter at Lorenzo_12_24 for all daily Philly sports news. Again, there's a lot of Philly sports news in the air right now. We got Phillies, we got Union, and we got Eagles. All three of those teams. Union are in a playoff spot. Eagles looking to be a playoff team. And the Fightins trying to squeeze into a playoff spot. We will see you all next week on the Lorenzo Primerano Show.